Okay, take your seat here for yoga hour. Practicing sequence 3 today and all month during January. As you sit well, turn the eye gaze low or close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath. The mantra I've shared for this month is witness yourself. Asking you to take the time in practice, both on and off of the mat, to really see the patterns, habits, what's working for you, maybe what's not working for you. Next month and continuing, we'll figure out what to do with those habits and patterns. But this month, really just checking in. So a couple more breaths here, noticing the rise and fall of your breath. Do you naturally take that breath from the belly? Is it more starting mid-chest or even upper chest? A lot of times just in noticing the way that we present, it starts to shift a little bit. Tuck your chin down to the chest here and rock the head from side to side, right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder, kind of making that half moon crescent shape back and forth. And then keep the right ear all the way over towards the right shoulder and walk the left fingertips out to your side, enhancing the stretch a bit. Stay there, enhance one more time with the right hand on top of the left ear and giving it that little tug out to the side. We're never looking to put pressure down, we're just lengthening here. Then we'll bring it back in, tuck chin to chest, left ear over towards the left shoulder. And walk the right fingertips out, add the left hand to the right ear. And then hands back to the thighs, chin to chest. Slow lift of the head, open the eyes, and come on over to all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees right underneath our hips, round your back, cat pose. As you come through neutral spine, I want you to lift your right leg up and back here, and then set it down and go all the way into cow. Let the belly drop, eyes and tailbone up. So there's this extra movement between cat and cow. So curl through cat pose. As you start to come back to neutral spine, lift your left leg up and back. And then set it right back down and go all the way into cow. Head up, tailbone up. Do that a few times through. See if that new patterning works for you. It's one way to sort of witness or notice more of what's going on, make one change in the loop. One more time each side through cat, into that bird dog with a leg lifted, and then into cow, cat pose, bird dog, second leg lifted, set it down into cow. And then back into the neutral spine. Now just lift the right leg up and back and extend the left arm out in front. So opposite arm and leg. A little more familiar there with just the static hold. Take the left hand as far out to the left side as possible as you kick the right foot way out to the right side. Strong engagement in the core. And bring it back towards your midline. Lower it down. Lift the left leg up and back, right hand out in front. Couple of breaths there in that static hold. Already nice engagement in the core. Think navel towards the spine, long tailbone. To relax across the shoulders. And then take the right hand as far as you can out to the side, left foot as far as you can out to the left. And back around to center. Lower it down. For a moment, tuck the toes and sit back on your heels. Interlace the hands, flip the palms, lift. Stay as you are, but interlace the hands behind your back instead. And now sit on flat feet instead of tucked toes. Send your head to your knees and your hands up to the sky. If they get stuck low, mine are right now, I'm just going to release the hands and let them open to get more space. And we can do that halfway in and towards the end of the practice and see if it changes things a bit. Come on out to plank pose. Nice high plank, hands right under the shoulders, straighten your arms. Look forward just past the front end of your mat. If not already, squeeze the heels in tight, squeeze your glutes, lengthen the tailbone, tone the belly. Maintain. And then your low push-up, can you hover just right above the mat, whether it's with knees down or knees up, hover, 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 hug the elbows in. See that starting strength and then lower it all the way down. Hands back behind you, lift everything that you can up, locust. Lower down, press to child's pose. Child's pose, knees apart, big toes together, reach the arms out long in front of you. Let's walk it over towards the right side, always feels nice. Side body stretch. And then walk the hands across the center and over to your second side. Back into the middle. As you rise through all fours, step your right foot forward into the lunge. Hands can stay on the inside of your foot to get a little more space. Lift up your back knee. And then shift your body weight forward and back as you straighten and bend the legs. Coming in and out of that lunge, straight leg, bent knee. And then stay in the low lunge. Place the hands on either side of the foot now. And walk both hands up to the front thigh. Right into the palms together, twisted lunge. Left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. You can either float it above the thigh or attach to the outside of the thigh. Untwist. I want you to step forward, both feet to the front end of the mat. And we'll try that hands clasped behind your back again. Instead of being all the way down, sitting on your feet, we're standing on our feet. Does it make any difference here? Stretch the hands up towards the sky as your head stays low towards your knees. Everyone release the hands, lift up, stand up. Exhale, forward fold. Keep your left foot forward, step your right foot back. Take both hands to the inside of your foot. So again, you have that little bit of extra space to start on this side and then shift back and forth. Sometimes I notice that I can get even so stubborn in thought that I have to approach the pose in the exact same way. And it's nice to remember to mix it up, just same poses. Second side, it starts a little different from standing instead of low. How does that change things? Come on up now, hands to the front thigh. And then add the twist, right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. Tone and turn through the abdomen. Try to keep the breath even and going. Come out of the twist and step both feet forward to the front end of the mat. Stand all the way up, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. We'll get into a sun salutation pattern that you're used to. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower flat down to the mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. And do downward facing dog. Take in a couple of breaths here in down dog. And now look forward to your hands and step or jump to the front end of the yoga mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, lift the arms to the sky. Bring the palms together, center of the chest. Do it all over again. Inhale, lift the arms, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower flat down to the mat. Peel the chest up a little to a lot in cobra or even up dog. And then downward facing dog, hips up and back. Breathe here. Look forward in between the hands, step or jump to the front end of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Pause here. Hands can stay at the chest or go down by your side in mountain pose. Can you relax the shoulders? Be broad though, across the collarbone. Just take it in. After that opening movement, as the body settling into one particular intention, the mind with it into one particular intention that'll keep you moving along beat by beat, pose by pose today. Grabbing hold of that, let's keep going. Lift the arms again up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to plank position and stay there. Full plank, straight arms. From here, I want you to step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Don't go anywhere else. Pause for a breath. And then step the right foot back to plank. We're working some hip mobility here. Can you stay as much in plank as possible and step the left foot all the way to the outside of the left hand. And then step it back. And then do it 4 more times quicker. Right foot to the right hand and back, left foot to the left hand and back, right hand, back, left, and back. Lower it flat down to the mat. Interlace the hands behind the back. How's it feel here as you lift? Notice. Is it the position of clasping the hands that feels great, not so great, middle to not so good at all? Or is it because of the way you've positioned the rest of the body? Push back to child's pose. Come on up to all fours. And again, step the right foot forward to the lunge. Hands on either side, lift up to low lunge. And finally, high lunge, torso upright, arms to the sky. Hips fully square, shoulders fully square. Nice deep bend in that front knee, letting the knee rise out from the line of the ankle. Try to keep as many of those things happening as possible, but spin the back foot flat down. Notice what happens to that back hip, left shoulder. If they need to open a bit, let them open a bit. It's just a practice of noticing. As you come into warrior one, the differences from a high lunge. Pick up your left heel again. Rotate back, left heel up into that high lunge, crescent shape. And now hold on to your left wrist and reach over towards your right side. Keep holding on to the left wrist and step the left foot all the way forward so you rise up to the top end of your mat in your crescent shape here. Can we keep most of the upper body in the same way, but step the left foot back again into your lunge. Open up the hands, take it to warrior one, back heel flat down. Just playing with those little different transitions. Fingertips down to the mat, step to plank. Lower down, cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward to your low lunge. Bring the hands to the front thigh. Come all the way upright, high lunge, arms to the sky. Good. Again, really noticing how you're presenting, how you're feeling in this high lunge, what needs to shift and change to go to warrior one, back heel down. Go back to your high lunge. Hold on to the right wrist, lean towards the left side. Keep what's happening from the hips to the fingertips as much as possible, but step forward. Both feet at the front of the mat like you are in mountain pose, but over in that crescent shape. And again, you're still keeping that, but step the right foot back again. Challenges core, balance, control. High lunge, warrior one. Finally, hands down to the mat, step back, plank. Lower down, cobra or up dog. Child's pose, push back, sit on your heels. One more time, bring the hands back behind your back, interlace the hands. With those options of knowing you don't have to interlace, they could stay open. But if we're all the way down and forward, then can you straighten the arms and lift the hands towards the sky? Is it any different just by leaning a little bit down and forward to allow the forehead to be on the mat instead of at your knees? Where's that range feeling okay for you? Already quite a difference from where I started, just by a little bit more repetition. Come back up, shake out the arms. Downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards to your feet. Ragdoll pose here, feet nice and wide, bend the knees, let your upper body really hang and release in between. Little exhale out through the mouth anytime you want to release a bit more pressure. And then let's all slowly roll on up to standing. Shoulders up and back a couple of times. And forward and down. Excellent. So I'm going to come to the center of the mat for this balance series. Feel free to join me in the center or wherever you know you'll have enough space around you. With the hands at the waist, pull the right knee up. Feel free to move closer to something that can support you, like a chair or a wall. Or just give it a go right in the center of your mat as I am. Hands are going to switch to underneath the right leg and then kick it straight ahead. Let go of the hands, take them up to the sky. Keep the hands as is, but now kick your leg behind you, warrior 3. It's like a pendulum as the hip hinge happens. Reach it more forward in the torso. Make a T shape in the body. Come back to where you started, right knee up into the chest. Hands hold underneath the thigh to give a bit of release. Keep standing on that left leg. Push down into the big toe. Pull up on your kneecap. And then can you transfer to hold onto your right foot? I've got my hand to the inside of the leg, holding onto the outside of my foot. And then take it out to the side. Standing hand to big toe pose. Bring it all back in and stamp down on 2 feet. Shake it out. Second side, pull the left knee up and into the chest. Start with the hands at the waist. I might look opposite you here. I'm not trying to mirror. Left knee up and into the chest, and then hold underneath to give it a little bit more help and support. Make the leg as straight as it'll go out in front of you. Good, and then hands to the sky. Can we change to that T shape? Kick the leg behind you. As the torso comes more down and forward, the leg should lift more up and back. Try to keep the hips square, which might be bending into the standing leg. And then go back upright, left knee into the chest, arms stay up. Hold underneath that left thigh again. Keep securing your standing leg. Remember, down into the big toe, lift up on the kneecap, tone the quad. And then try holding on to the left foot. And it's hand to big toe pose, so you could try first 2 fingers and thumb around the big toe. That never works as well for me as just holding the outer edge of the foot. And we're going to open it up almost like a star, more out to the side. And then just come down, stand on 2 feet, shake out the legs, and then mountain pose, be still for a moment. I definitely had some balance trouble myself, more on one side than the other. Nothing to judge or beat myself up about, but simply to notice. I hope you're doing the same. Walk up to the front end of your mat. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Step back to plank. Lower flat down to the mat. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Stay there in downward facing dog for a couple more breaths. And then lift your right leg up into the air now, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee into the chest and hover forward. Sustain right there. Go again, up and back, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee forward, hold it into the chest. And now can you open the knee out to the side, more towards your right shoulder, like fire hydrant pose? And then can the knee come and try to touch your left elbow like a twist underneath the body? And back into the center. Step the foot all the way through into a low lunge. And spiral up for warrior two. So spin the back heel down. Lift and open, chest right on top of the shoulders. Let the energy of the body really be open towards that long edge of your yoga mat, but gaze out over your front fingertips. Let's flip the palms, lift the right hand up. Look up, how's it feel? Nice and slow, turn and look over your back shoulder. Look down. How does that change the pose for you? Good old side angle pose. Take the right elbow to the right knee. Left arm palm down overhead, reach long. Good. You want to try right hand to the floor? Maybe, maybe not. If your right hand is down to the floor, try a bind, left hand behind your back, right hand under your thigh. It takes that similar-ish shoulder opening as when we're clasping the hands behind the back. So this one's probably not going to feel good if the others don't feel right. But who knows? Everyone, right hand down to the floor and straighten your right leg. Straighten to your capacity, which might be more bent, more straight. Keeping right fingertips down to the floor. Triangle pose, left arm straight up to the sky. And then look down and come into your low lunge, both hands to the inside of your right foot. So low lunge, both hands to the inside of the foot, just like we did in the beginning. Shift your hips back and forth, more straighten and more bent. Remember the patterns of thought that happen. How's this one feel? And can you be just truly present with how it is right now instead of how it usually is? Stay in your low lunge and change right hand to the outside of the foot. So you've got hand, foot, hand. Pyramid pose, step the back foot in a little bit. Like warrior one, push the back heel down, straighten both legs now and bring the hands to the waist. With the hands at the waist, you should be able to get both legs straight. The torso can be as high up or as folded over as works for you to get the legs and keep the legs straight. Revolve triangle pose. Take the left hand to the ground or onto your leg. Right arm up to the sky. Notice I didn't mention which side of the foot to place your bottom hand onto. It really doesn't matter which one's working for you here. Big toe or pinky toe side. And then slowly unwind your way back to plank position. Lie all the way down to the mat. Cobra. Take child's pose for a moment. What feels better for you in upper body, hands forward, or wrap your hands to your feet for a moment. Up to you. And then my challenge is always, can I remember those things on the second side? I think so. Downward facing dog. Let's try it on the second side. Lift your left leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Bring the knee into the chest and hover forward And then go back up again, three-legged dog. Knee to the chest, hover forward. I like that fire hydrant pose. Left knee out to the left side. I find that one so hard. And then over in a twist underneath you, left knee trying to touch the right elbow. Come back to the center and step it through. Ah, what a relief warrior two is. Spin the back heel down, come on upright. Nice, tall, strong standing pose. Flip the palms, lift the left hand to the sky, look up. It asks for a lot more back bend, but if you just change the head and look down towards the right hand, at least for me, a lot of that striving kind of changes. It gets a little softer. It's nice to have the balance in between. Okay, we go left elbow to the left knee, right hand palm down overhead in side angle pose. And then we have our options here. Left fingertips maybe to the ground. Try the bind, right hand behind your back. You could do a one-armed bind, just the top hand, just the bottom hand. See how it's going for you. Again, just noticing the difference from one side to the other. Replace the left hand back down to the floor if it wasn't already. Straighten the leg as much as you can and send the right arm up to the sky for triangle pose. And take the right hand down to the floor beside the left. Change to your low lunge. Both hands stay to the inside. And you just shift back and forth here. Pyramid pose is next. Nice deep bend in the left knee. Take the hand to the outside of the left foot. So again, we've got that hand, foot, hand. Little slimmer alignment, if you will. Step the back foot in a bit. Make both legs as straight as they'll go. Take the hands up to the waist so that the hinge of your hip line helps you to find straight legs. The whole time, think right hip down and around, left hip more up and strengthened. And then add in the twist. Right hand goes down to the mat or hold on higher on your leg. Left arm out to the side or up to the sky. And if you need a little pointer on different modifications that might work, just give me a glance here. This is a nice held strong position, a little bit more doable in the ask and upper body and hamstrings. Everyone finds plank pose. And then down to the mat, cobra, and push it back to child's pose. Little pause, take a couple more breaths. Your favorite version of child's pose here, whether it's hands forward, back, more enlivened or more relaxed. Changing focus a little lower to the mat here. So come up to all fours. Step the right foot again forward into the lunge, but keep the back knee down. And now twisted monkey. So we'll take the right toes, right knee, right hip all turned out about 30 degrees. Pull the back heel in so you get a nice quad stretch there. And then add-ons is a twist. Look over your right shoulder. Bind, hold right hand to the left foot. Some folks like to go down onto your left forearm here. Add in a little more upper back. If you're down on the forearm, walk back up to the hand, and then everybody bring it back into your low lunge, back knee off of the ground. And this changes to pigeon. So hover that right foot up, and then set the right knee down. Left knee down, walk the left leg back, back, back. And as you walk the left leg back, lift the torso up. So this is an upright pigeon position. Of course, you're always more than welcome to be down and forward. But I'm going to ask you for one more quad stretch here. Left knee bends, try to pull the left heel in. But this time, instead of opposite hand to foot, same hand to foot. Reach back, left hand to left foot. You can stay a little bit more turned and open to the side. A little bit more would be thumb on the big toe side of the foot, so that as you bent your elbow, you could twist the hand to fold around the toes, elbow up to the sky. Then within that, can you move the shoulders and the hips to face more towards that front short side of the mat again? No quick movements, take it slow. Release the back leg. Downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Those two positions back to back, I notice, have a pretty big change because I feel quite off balance right now and ready to move into that second side. So left foot forward into the lunge, back knee down, hands to the inside. Turn the left toes, knees, hip out, all in the same line, about 30 degrees. Give some weight to that right hand. Sometimes I reach a little bit forward and a little bit over, so it really takes a lot of the load bare, making it slightly easier to breathe into the hip. Right heel towards your seat, look over the left shoulder. Maybe hold on, right hand to left foot. Nope, left hand to right foot. And release out. Come to your regular old low lunge, hands on either side of the front foot, back knee lifted. Power, concentration in the core to lift the left heel up, hover the knee. And then lower the left knee behind the left wrist, heel closer to the right hip. As you walk the right leg back, actually lift the torso upright. I want to make the legs work strong here, so there shouldn't be so much pressure in the hands. Right knee bends. I know we think of both of these positions, the twisted monkey and pigeon, as hip openers. Going towards these greater challenge stages of the pose, they are really back bends, heart openers, requiring a lot of hip opening to get there. Noticing how I label poses and work them changes how I feel about them sometimes. When I call pigeon pose a hip opener, I like it more than when I call it a back bend. Okay, we'll work our way all the way out into downward facing dog, and then shift, pedal out the feet, hopefully feeling a little bit more balanced. Inhale, come forward to plank. This is 8-angle pose. It's knees, toes down to the mat. Your hands are already there, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. We're going to make our chest and our chin be 7 and 8. 8-angle pose. Keep the butt lifted, little grasshopper there. And then glide through down to the belly. Interlace the hands behind the back. Locust pose. We get to see that one again. Again, hands bound or open. Lower it down, and now flip onto your back. So you can stay in the same direction if you want, but flip onto your back. Setting up here for bridge pose, set the soles of your feet to the mat. Push down into your feet, shoulders, head, and lift your hips. Okay, just like we've been doing that clasp of the hands, it's an option to keep the hands open or to clasp behind your back. If you're clasping behind your back here, really important that we roll the shoulders both in, kind of tuck the wings into the body, if you will. And then lift the hips a little bit higher. Building bridge pose, I want you to squiggle your feet further out in front of you so there's less bend in your knee. Legs go towards straight. They don't have to go all the way straight, just like they don't in the straight leg postures. That's the building piece. And then walk the feet back into a bigger bend in the knee. Release the hands if they're clasped and lower your hips down. Hug your knees into your chest for a moment. We'll go the opposite way rather than opening up and extending through belly, stomach. A little crunch. Both feet, both hands up to the sky. Lift the head and shoulders up in a crunch. Scissor the legs. Right leg stays lifted. Lower the left leg and lean towards the right side. Come back up to the center. Scissor right leg down, lean to your left. Back up to the center. Go quicker now to the first side and up. Second side, up, right, up, left, up. 4 more here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees back into your chest. Rock up to a seated position and stretch your legs straight out in front of you. So we're in a seated position, legs straight out in front. Place your hands down on either side. And here is one of those witnessing, noticing factors that just doesn't change, right? Can you make your arms straight and your hands flat on the ground? Do you need a little bit of knee bend? Do you need to shift your hips a little bit forward to get that straight arm position? Do you tend to hyperextend through the elbows and you need to actually keep a little bit of bend in your elbows at all times to look like a straight arm? That's what we're taking into account here. So some anatomy lengths, some of the ways our body naturally works. What if you scoot your butt further back instead of further forward, and everybody take this little bend in your knees? Try this. Hinge your torso a little forward, press into your hands, and can you get your butt off of the ground? And then down. We'll do it from the side as well. So I've got my butt further back, hands further forward, about a 45-degree hinge. Press into the heels, into the hands, and try to lift your butt up. and down, and then do it 3 more times, up and down. This curve of the shoulders is probably a little bit forward, up and down, up and down. And then I want you to make a couple of changes. Turn the hands so that the fingers face out rather than forward towards your heels. They're out towards the long edges of the mat. Don't let your shoulders round down and forward. Keep the torso as lifted as possible. Now, can you press your hands down and lift your butt up? If you're like me in Anatomy Links, it's barely maybe getting off of the floor just from those changes. Okay, one more thing. What if we turned our hands, fingers, so they face back towards the short end of the mat behind you? Shoulders have to be really highly rotated up and back. Again, I'm pressing my heels down, and I'm actually going to move my butt closer to the heels, further from my hands. Press in to lift up and down a couple of times. That one should be more accessible. Being wary of anything going on in shoulders that wouldn't be good for this. Okay, come back in, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side, fold over. Why am I doing those things? Being able to take more straight line positions and noticing how the weight is being held, what lengths of our body make poses more accessible or not. For me, helps take a little bit of the mystery away of some of the arm balances, and also way less judgment on myself when arm balances, quote, work or don't work. Because some is how we are built, not how hard we're trying, working, doing. Which means, come on upright, we've got some arm balances to play with. I want you to come into a squat. I'm hoping the work we've done in the hips is going to make the squat somewhat accessible. Keep your butt down low, but you could also lift it up higher. Yeah? So as low as it'll go, keeping your feet pretty flat. Good old Bakasana. Take the hands flat onto the mat, fingers forward. Lift up enough to take the knees onto your upper arm bones. You should create just like a little tiny shelf, a bend in the elbows there. And at first, you can pick up 1 foot at a time, kind of side to side, how you have to activate in the core. And then maybe both feet. If Bakasana is always pretty tough for you and you've always tried it just one way, don't be afraid to slightly turn the hands out, especially if those turned out positions or even hands back behind you in what we just did made things way more doable. Is it that you just need to open up a little bit? We're only taking a couple of breaths in Bakasana. You're not going to be there forever. But maybe that's what gives you the airlift that you hadn't had before. Move the wrists around a little bit. Place the hands back down and walk both knees over to face towards the long edge of the mat on your right side. So the legs are close to the right arm bone. Walk the feet more forward. Bend both elbows. Try to set the knees just onto the right arm and lift your feet up. A nice way to make this one happen is to use left hip onto that left elbow. Carry the weight on both hands. And then switch their knees so they're facing over towards the left side. And again, try to keep the right elbow out on its own. Maybe play with how much does it work to even turn the hand all the way out to the side so that elbow is not as likely to help out. Or say, nope, I really want it. Hands stay together. Lean the right hip into the right arm to make that work. I'm going to ask you to make your way all the way down to the belly. Keep your hands open behind your back with the palms down. So this is Shalabhasana, palms down, lift the chest. Lower, turn the palms up, lift the chest. And lower, finally interlace the hands and lift the chest. Release, press back to child's pose. Your favorite form right now, child's pose. Arms forward, arms back. And then I'm going to call this one puppy dog pose. I want you to be down on your forearms, but with your butt wagging from side to side in the air. Down on the forearms. Then can you stay down on the forearms, but change to your feet rather than your knees? And can you put your knees onto your upper arm bones? You're going to be very, very close to the floor. Feel free to give me a look because you can only look down when you're in the pose. I'm trying to get my knees onto the upper arm bones and lift the feet. It's hard to tell, but my forehead and my feet are off of the ground. Just the forearms are down. Baby Bakasana. And then we can fall to our knees. Lower legs. And just like we did at the very beginning of class, tuck your toes, lift your torso upright, interlace your hands, flip the palms up. I know it's a lot of shoulder work today. I apologize for that, for those that it's much for. Interlace the hands behind the back, send the head towards your knees, feet flat. Remember this one from the beginning? Arms up and over. I just didn't even try it at the beginning. Witnessing how the body is opening. Perhaps it's a little different now. All right, release. Sit back on the heels and Virasana, hero pose. Just kind of pausing, taking it in. And come to a seat again with your legs straight out in front of you. One more arm balance pose that you'll see a lot from me. I'm going to try to mirror you. Take your right foot, give it the little baby cradle. Throw it over your right shoulder. As you take the hands down, remember that work we just did. Did it work best for you with a slight hinge forward, fingers forward? What if you try to move the hands a little bit further back before you lift up? What if you even turn the hands out? Did that work? Get your butt, your heel, or both ends of your body up. And then set it down and release. And take the opposite side. So left knee hooks over the left shoulder. We do this a lot in the way that I'll say hinge forward, press hands down, heel down, lift your butt up. You could go like that. And then kind of trying the opposite with hands further back, chest more lifted, heel up, and then butt up. Often the harder piece. Release, shake out the legs, lie down onto your back. Give your knees a wide hug, meaning try to have your knees more into your armpits rather than at the chest. Feet can be moving towards each other, almost like a Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. And then just rock from side to side. Happy baby. And then take it into windshield wipers, feet down as wide as the mat, hands to goddess, goal post shape, and let the knees windshield wipe from side to side. Meaning they're not touching, they never intersect, and yet they're moving flawlessly together. Let the feet come together and knees out to the side in Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana, lying down on your back in that bound ankle shape. And then stretch out for your Shavasana. If you need a little bit more movement prior to Shavasana, or you'd rather be in a seat of meditation, here to close, please. It's your time, your space. Do what works for you. I'll often ask us here to kind of mind map back through the class. And just in saying that, you probably did it a little bit in the last couple of breaths. But then really be fully present right here. I'd like us all to clench and tense as much as we can. Close the fist. Squeeze through the feet, the face, the glutes, everything nice and tight. And release. Do it one more time. Squeeze, clench, tighten. Always helps bring me like super into the present. So much work to tense up and then release. Stay released. Stay there. You're, of course, always welcome to stay in Shavasana, stay in that state of release longer. For those wishing to close along with me, come on back up to a seat if you're lying down. Closing gesture with the hands, whether it's in that traditional Anjali Mudra or grounded mudra of hands down along the thighs. We'll give gratitude for this time of practice on the mat that feeds the time of practice off the mat. The transitional sacred sound of Om. Feel free to sing along, to listen, or to tune it out. This is the exhale. Deep breath in. I bow to each of you, each other, the teachers that have led me along this path, and for the practice itself. Namaste.